going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone out there is doing well on a Thursday. I hope you guys are getting everything out of the way before the weekend starts and stuff. So, overall, guys, I hope everyone out there is doing well today. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening in to the show. You can find us on many different streaming platforms out there, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeart Radio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So if you like what you hear from Chris and I, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It's very important for Chris and I. It helps us know what we're doing on the show and how we can improve the show for the future for you all. So as always, guys, we very much appreciate you all's support with the show. As always, guys, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Feeling good. We just wrapped up the draft, and we got some more college football news going on. So, I'm doing good, and everything's going good out here with these other sports. We got, it's fight week. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Canelo Alvarez. There's a lot of big names fighting this weekend, and NBA playoffs. I mean, it's a great time if you love sports.
Yeah, it is, man. It definitely is. You got it's always great around this time of the year, Chris, where you got some good boxing matches, coming up, Cinco de Mayo, so you already know what it is. That's almost pretty much is the year where we see Canelo.
Exactly. It's a guarantee you're going to see Canelo fighting around then. So, yeah, man, Cinco de Mayo weekend. And baseball's been going in, too, with the season getting started. Yep. So, yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. If you're a hockey fan out there, I mean, NHL playoffs are going on right now. Yeah. So, hey, you got everything.
You got everything. Whatever tickles your fancy, it's on TV. So, yeah, everybody's good.
Absolutely. Everyone is eating, as the kids say, Chris. Well, man, it's been a very eventful couple weeks, I should say, Chris, with just so much news happening, playoffs and everything. But, this past weekend, we just wrapped up the NFL draft, the 2025 NFL draft. And I got to say, Chris, out of all of the drafts that we've seen, and we've seen a lot of things happen at these drafts before. We've seen people almost lose their stocks off of viral videos. we've seen it all. And we have not seen anything like this, Chris, where a guy that was projected to be a high draft pick fall into the 5th round of the NFL draft. We've never seen that before, and we had to witness 3 days of this, Chris, with former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. And Chris, I gotta say, what a ride the media, everyone tried to put us through, because my gosh, I was not suspecting to see anything like that, and I know you weren't as well. But what were your thoughts about what you had saw over the weekend with the NFL draft in terms of this situation?
Man, it's unfortunate for Shedeur. In the sense of, I think with all the draft talk, we end up putting people in positions to where if things don't work out and they slide, it turns into a big ordeal, a big story. He's a good quarterback. but also I can see how this happened, Kory. Um, One, with him as a player, he did great things at Colorado, but when you look at the film, there's a lot of questionable decisions. He will have bad sacks and will mess around and, you'll end up being in field goal range and lose 15 yards on the play. And now you can't kick a field goal anymore. That isn't going to fly in the NFL. It's things like that we do see on the tape. He was originally committed to FAU before going to Jackson State. It wasn't like he was a big time, highly touted recruit, even though he's put up great numbers and did great things in college. So there were some questions about the talent. And then when you look at how him and his, how things were kind of handled by himself and Dion, and they kind of tried to approach things as if they were the Mannings, as if he was Eli Manning, but that isn't how his talent was evaluated to be. And you try to dictate terms when you aren't that guy, and this is the consequence. So it's unfortunate, but I see how it played out like this, Kory. I really do. I really understand it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when you really delve deep and you go into the analysis, like an actual, like Mel Kiper or any other guy out here, Charles Davis, these guys that really sit down and evaluate talent. Of course, a lot of these guys are at these games during their collegiate careers, wanting to see this talent. Shedeur was no different, Chris. When you look at some of those things that he did on the field, you can have valid reasons to probably dock him on the board for that. But man, it's one of those things where you looked at the whole 3 days in its totality, Chris, and you're just saying to yourself, like, man, yeah, all of those things are true, but we can't deny that there is talent within Shedeur Sanders. Like, he definitely has the knack to play the quarterback position. Those things just need to be cleaned up. Hey, we can talk about a lot of quarterbacks that got picked higher than Shedeur, that makes like weird, mistakes, of course, on the field that they too need to clean up. I'll look at a guy like a Jackson Dart. There were times that Jackson Dart would make those bonehead decisions on the field. Flat out. I'm not going to sit there and say he's a terrible quarterback, because he's not. But when you're really putting these quarterbacks and you're judging them by their talent, if it's me, I'm picking a Shedeur Sanders before I'm picking Jackson Dart or Tyler Show. Tyler Show, which was a really good quarterback at Louisville. I think he has a position to put himself as a QB1 in the future in the NFL. But he, just like everybody else, the dudes need to work on that. I mean, this quarterback class for this year in the draft is it's not the strongest one. I think we can all kind of agree with that one. But everyone does have their strengths and everyone does have their weaknesses, and that needs to be evaluated properly without having whatever feelings else that you may have about some of these guys that may can damper your team. And I understand that sometimes character issues and things come into play, but you don't really get that from the Shedeur Sanders. He is who he is. He is the son of Deion Sanders. And yeah, he does bring that moxie to him, that level of confidence to him. But I don't think that's for the detriment of said team that he would want to be a part of. Now he's with the Browns. We'll see what happens with that. They took him in the 5th round. I just look at it as, this guy has a lot of talent to offer. And why did it take so long to, dismiss the talent that you're getting and utilizing that talent and also helping him be the best quarterback that he can be? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think a lot of it seems like has to do hearing how the interview process went, and a lot of things were turned off with how kind of it seems, based off the intel, that it was kind of dismissive and wasn't handling himself as somebody that was trying to sell himself to every team. You know what I'm saying? And also that it was hard to get intel on the kind of guy he is. And so if that is the case, and you're a team trying to decide on a leader, because essentially when you draft a quarterback, you're drafting somebody that you feel like is going to lead the team. And it's hard to get intel about this person. Nobody's giving you direct answers that's connected to the Colorado program. And we know how Dion can get if you out here saying something he don't want you to say.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen how he gets with the media, whether it was at Jackson State or at Colorado.
Hey, just ask CBS Sports. they can tell you all about that.
Yes. There's some people in Jackson who can do the same. So I think it's just it's unfortunate. I think they kind of overestimated the talent, the player that he is. And with things being so difficult to kind of get a read and get some real answers and do a real evaluation on him besides the tape, because he didn't play at the combine. He didn't do any drills. It's things like that. I think he kind of had some missteps along the way, and this is how it played out. But this could be for the best for him.
Yeah,
Cleveland has like 4 quarterbacks, and nobody is of a significant talent level, or and he can prove himself to eventually be the starter. You're behind Joe Flacco. Dylan Gabriel was also drafted by the Browns, and
which is interesting.
I think he's a good player, but he's not I don't see the high ceiling with Dylan Gabriel. So Shador goes in and locks in. Who's to say he doesn't become the quarterback of the Browns? So I mean, it might be something that was a tough 3 days, but ultimately, this could be for the best, because it's a good situation if he can push through and become that guy. They got some players there, and Cleveland is desperate. That franchise has never had a quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They need a QB.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I mean, this is, in the way that they drafted Shador, it's it's definitely telling that they are looking to go all in with trying to find the guy. And I did you hear the like the post-draft interview where they were talking to their GM, and he was pretty much surprised that Shador stayed in there. Yeah, that he brought in great value for them, and they were surprised that he had stayed in there that long, and that actually helped along the way for them, because they had already got a lot of the guys that they had wanted. For what they saw in terms of talent and the value that they had acquired him in the draft, they were very pleased with that. So I'm going to take their word for it and say that, hey, they got everybody that they needed. Hey, they still have Myles Garrett there. Myles Garrett was about to leave, of course, as well. They found a way to, keep him around. Maybe this is a new beginning for Cleveland. I mean, this is definitely an organization that has, had his fair share of downs. More downs than ups through his history. Hopefully this is an opportunity for Cleveland to get back on track and actually compete in their division. So we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens. Of course, this should be very interesting in what we'll see in terms of Shedeur being a Cleveland Brown. And I don't want to dismiss Dylan Gabriel, of course. I think he did very well at Oregon. I'm interested in seeing how he's going to take this in terms of competition. I know at the end of the day he's a competitor, and hey, I want to see both of these guys, Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, compete. Hey, they're at a time now where it's just Joe Flacco, a guy who was about to did call it quits, and decided to come back and became comeback player of the year last year. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with Cleveland.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, they got some good pieces. We see how they drafted. They already had Judy and Cedric Tillman there at wide receiver. Then they messed around and got him another Nick Chubb-like player.
Yeah,
Quinshon Judkins.
I like that pick.
I like that pick a lot too.
That's nice.
I will find ways to have Judkins on my fantasy team this year. But but yeah, man, they got something brewing out there in Cleveland. So we'll see how it all plays out. It's just it's like we said, it's a tough situation for Shedeur, but a lot of this happens because of the expectations that we place in the coverage of the draft.
Right.
Like we love talking about it, but maybe it's to a fault. I mean, it wouldn't be a slide. It shouldn't be a slide. Like, it's just because somebody says that they expect this person to be picked there and they don't. Well, apparently that they weren't supposed to be picked there. Yes, at the end of the day. So yeah, I guess we just kind of maybe need to, as the public and the media and everything, and just all of us, kind of just let the draft happen like it used to.
Exactly.
And it's to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree, Chris. Yeah, just let it unfold. Let these talents go out there and let their game speak for themselves. That's the way I've always seen the draft be, and that's all the way. That's how I'm always gonna see it. For forever. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens for sure. But a really good draft, I should say. There was a lot of great talents being picked. We'll see what happens with a lot of our teams out there. My Cardinals had a pretty good draft, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Dallas made the right picks. How Dallas is.
my Niners, we drafted. I can't say if it was good or bad. It's TBD in my eyes. I'm reserving any judgment. So yeah, we will see how things play out. But no, there was definitely some really good drafts. I really like the Patriots.
Yeah, they did. They had a pretty good draft. And look, that's a team that definitely needed it. They needed to get a big shot in the arm, and I think they got.
Yeah, you got your franchise left tackle with Will Campbell. Mm-hmm. We watch a lot of LSU games. Yeah, he don't allow sacks.
Nope.
You're not getting to Drake May.
No.
If you do it wasn't because of Will Campbell.
Right. Hey, he got his stats in for the day. He did what he did.
Will's a dog.
Yeah,
he's a dog. And then you get Travion Henderson too.
Yeah, much needed.
We know how prolific and dynamic he is.
Mm-hmm.
You get made some weapons, and they got the wide receiver from Washington State.
Yeah. I like that pick. I really like that pick. And it wasn't just him. Didn't they also get his teammate as well? I thought I saw. I can't fully remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, I know. I know the Texans got a couple of teammates because the Texans drafted Jaden Higgins.
That's right.
And they drafted Noel.
That's right, from Iowa State. Am I wrong?
Iowa State.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking about. My apologies there. That was two great picks right there at the receiver position. I think Houston's going to benefit that very well.
That's good drafting because Diggs gone. Hank Dell is recovering from the leg injury.
Mm-hmm.
We probably won't see him this season.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so CJ needed some weapons.
Yeah.
Nico Collins can't do it by himself.
No, he can't, man. They gonna have that man bandaged up by like week 8, week 9. We halfway through. He's just like, look, man, I've done all I can do.
Man, he gonna be looking like old boy from SpongeBob when he rolled in, all bandaged up.
Oh man, instead of looking for chocolate, he just gonna be like,
Yes.
look, man, can I get some time off, man?
Can I get some time off? Can I miss practice?
I've been
I hit the
working like
practice today. It's Thursday. He missing the Thursday practice. That's when you know you're tired.
I know. You have done everything that you can possibly do throughout this
Matter of fact, he
season.
said, "Can I just walk through this week? Can I just come to the Saturday walkthrough?"
Can I come to the Saturday walk? That's amazing. Oh my god. Oh man, but no, you're absolutely right, Chris. Yeah, it was great picks by a lot of these teams, Houston as well, and we're definitely about to see what happens this coming NFL season. Travis Hunter, Jacksonville Jaguar. Dean mentioned him as well, so the Jaguars trying to bolster up that offense and defense over there. So shout out to Tony Cohen.
Yeah, what will Leo Cohen say? Duval.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh. No, that is quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter with BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr. We've been big fans of BTJ.
Oh yeah,
watching him at LSU.
Oh yeah, he was a dog.
Dog. Everybody was so infatuated with Malik Neighbors, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
BTJ one of the ones too.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
it's very Jordan Jefferson. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase like.
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree. They were, man, they were guys that were not. They were a force to be reckoned with. Oh man,
they were. And just a quick tangent.
Yeah,
it's crazy that LSU is really still like producing wide receivers like this
at this high level.
I thought Odell, when we was in school, we got to witness. I'm pretty sure you were at that game too, Kory,
mm-hmm.
when LSU came to Davis Wade.
Yep.
And Tevez Calhoun, forgive me, brother, but that's when he got baptized and got introduced into the SEC football.
Look, Tevez Calhoun. Look, we know him personally. Great guy. Represented Mississippi State very well. Yeah, that day he definitely saw our guy Odell Beckham Jr. out there just going insane on the field that day.
Odell just dominated. We seen him and Jarvis Landry in person.
Yeah.
And just the performance they put on. I'm like, oh my goodness. These boys are going to be dogs in the NFL. And they had great careers.
Yep.
But LSU has continued to one up that. We got Jefferson. We got Chase and Jefferson.
Yeah.
Now we got Neighbors and BTJ. I don't know how they keep doing this out there. What's in the water in Louisiana, Kory?
Look, they fill with receivers. if you drink the water, you will have the knack of being wide receiver for the LSU Tigers, Chris. You will have that power. You will know what it's like to be with some of the elite wide receivers in college football.
It's insane what they got going on over there, and they gonna keep it going this year with T.Y. Hilton's son.
Yeah,
And Barryon Brown is over there too.
Oh my God! It just like they just keep bringing the heat. You know, what can we say?
Rich get richer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh!
just since we were talking about it, I just had to go off on that quick tangent real quick.
No. I'm glad you did. It definitely makes the next topic that we're going to talk about, which is Big 12 previews. You know, we've talked about it, of course, with what's going to happen with some of these teams. So it's good to talk about some of these players and some of these schools, and it helps bring excitement, Chris. I should say so. So yeah, man. Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with LSU, and we'll definitely talk about the SEC very soon on one of our future episodes. So yeah, man. Well, the draft, of course, was great. Chris, are you all ready to talk about Big 12, the Big 12 conference preview, and some of your teams that have the opportunity to make it to the playoff?
You know I am, man. This is probably the most chaotic conference in college football, Kory. You can be at the bottom one season. You can be predicted to lose, to be in last place in the conference, and somehow, some way, come out on top and win the Big 12. That's how insane this conference is on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, it's insane how this conference is made out, Chris. And when you look at like the top 12, pretty much. I mean, now we're really gonna have to look at it now with the 12-team playoff, but with the top 12, even the top 10 teams in the country, just about every year, we always see a Big 12 team looking to just kind of shake up the whole system. It always happens. It's always that one or two teams out there trying to jockey for a position to knock someone off. And this is no different. So I'm very interested to see some of your picks. I know me and you are more than likely on the same wave pattern in terms of some of these teams, because like you said, some of the teams at the bottom, the following year, they find themselves. It just happens in this league. That's what makes this league so great.
Arizona State.
Yeah, right. They're a perfect example. Arizona State, they were like the laughing stock the year prior to last year. And then look at them this past year. These guys, they were a few games away from going to a national championship. That's insane.
Had Texas on the ropes.
Texas on the ropes. I thought Texas was done. To be honest with you. But that did not happen. And, ultimately, the rest was history. Ohio State became champions, out of the first 12-team playoff. But, man, when it comes down to this league, Chris, I will say that I have to give a shout out to the Big 12 commissioner and everyone there. They've worked hard to make this league competitive. And I think this year is only going to elevate that more. The competitiveness of this league is going to be one of the best.
Yeah. No, you. I'm right there with you. Boy. So, Kory, as we dive into this Big 12 talk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Your number one team.
So, for me, you're giving me The number one.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce us to your top team.
Okay.
For the Big 12.
Okay. Well, my number one team, I'm gonna have to go ahead and I'm gonna have to go with the Colorado Buffaloes. I know that some people may look at that, Chris, as oh man,
spicy.
You know, is a little bias coming out? You know, I have talked, you know, extensively. Me and you have talked extensively about, you know, Deion and you know what he's done at Colorado, and yes, you know, everything wasn't, you know, peaches and cream, but I do think that this season, this is year 3 of the Deion era for the Buffaloes. I do think that this season is going to be very interesting for Colorado. I think Deion has a couple quarterbacks at the helm that can help them along the way. Julian Lewis, who just got there, is going to be a guy that's, I mean, right now he's currently competing for a spot for Colorado, but that's not the only person that's there that's going to be there for Colorado. Then they just get Liberty's Caden Salter.
Salter's probably going to be the starter.
Yeah, he's probably going to be the starter for Colorado. We'll see. You know, this is what makes this time of the year so interesting, Chris. Is that you know, you have that time to see who's going to be the starting quarterback for your team. So I think Deion doing that definitely will help Colorado's offense, because you bring in an experienced guy that's done it at a pretty high level at Liberty. And then not only that, you bring in a high caliber quarterback from the recruiting scene in Julian Lewis. So I think that this can go very well for Deion if he brings if he helps bring the best out of these guys. And I'm sure they're competitors. They're going to compete and go from there, because you know they want to be they want to make sure that they can make this team the best that it can be. And I know Deion wants to make sure that this team can be the best it can be. There's no more Shadur, you know, you know, walking around there. There's no more Travis Hunter, a guy that, you know, those shoes are very big to fill. So, you know, they will see that, but can they still overcome that? I think they can. I think they have a really good coach in Coach Sanders that knows that. And look, he has to find the best talent out there that can help him win games. If he can shore up that line, which I think that's one of the big things that he tried to do this recruiting cycle, and get some more talent out there, receiver, I think they'll be just fine. I'm looking at why this whole Big 12 conference will be very competitive. You know, it will show a downturn in some talent that have left at some of these schools. But I think what Deion is doing right now is very intriguing. He just has to put it all together. He
does. They just picked up Larry Johnson III in the portal from Tennessee, a big offensive tackle, 6'7", 350 pounds.
Yep.
And we know the problems that, you know, Colorado has had protecting their QB the last couple of seasons. So it seems like they are addressing those needs. They are an intriguing team to me. I don't have them at the top, but they are definitely on the list of teams to look out for, potential playoff contenders out of the Big 12. Because like we said, this conference can flip on its head at any moment.
It can.
And so Colorado is definitely building, and they have the potential, if everything clicks, if it all comes together, to be right there in the mix. For myself, I'm going to go ahead and get them out the way. And just go ahead and say it. Arizona State. I don't think it was a fluke. I think what they got going on out there is for real, Kory. You know, especially when you have Levitt coming back too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he definitely did, and pretty much Kenny Dillingham and just his whole staff. I mean, they definitely proved
They came back.
wrong. Yeah,
I don't think nobody got poached from Arizona State.
No, which is good. I mean, it's hard in the world of college football or just any sport, but especially in terms of college football, Chris, it's hard to try to maintain your staff and your players and build off of that. You know, we always talked about years of teams needing stability by keeping their staff. We've talked about that extensively. They're a great picture of showcasing that, and if they can really showcase that, hey, us maintaining some of our players and gaining some players and our staff and all of that, keeping all that together and keeping the mission afloat, if they can succeed in that will pay dividends for a team like Arizona State. So I definitely get where you're coming from, Chris. I definitely thought about Arizona State, knowing that how good they played last year. I just thought a little bit that Dion and them, they know this is year 3. They have to figure it out. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you.
No, I see where you're coming from. And like I said, Colorado was definitely on the list for me too. Mm-hmm. Then there is, I include these teams in the same tier with Arizona State. I look at the Big 12, like we said, it's crazy. So next up for me, this is just me, Baylor.
Nice.
We've had our discussions off air. You know how high I am on Baylor. I think there is a legitimate case, and I think it will play out as the season plays out, that Sawyer Robertson is the best quarterback in the conference.
Hey,
that's my hot
take. No, I will give you that, Chris. The jury's still out on what a Caden Salter. We feel like he'll be QB1, but let's say Julian Lewis kind of sweeps in on this. We'll see what happens with Colorado's quarterback situation. Overall, I mean, yeah, you definitely have like a lot of these quarterbacks that are still trying to.
I mean, Avery Johnson's still there,
right,
at K-State.
Yeah,
he's one of them ones. But you can very well say that Sawyer Robertson, with how he played with Baylor as they closed the season, I would not be shocked at the end of the season if he's first team All Big 12 and representing the conference as the best quarterback in the Big 12.
No, I definitely get you. And out of all of the quarterbacks, Levitt, Lewis, Salter, Avery Johnson, I think, and we talked about it a little bit, Chris, off air, that Baylor, they really showed up and showed out towards the end of last season, and a lot of that was because of a guy like Sawyer Robinson. And I definitely, I'm going to put them as my number 3 team in the Big 12 right now, because hey, if they can put that all together, and if they can keep a guy like Sawyer Robinson, look, we know about Sawyer Robinson. That was once upon a time he was at Mississippi State.
Was highly talented too, coming out of high school.
Exactly,
4-star kid.
Exactly. The late Mike Leach. He really wanted something special with a guy like Sawyer.
He saw it.
Yeah, he saw it. He definitely saw it, and of course, he didn't stay long because he knew his talent level. He knew what he could provide for a team. Luckily, Baylor has that guy, and I think seeing how we saw Baylor late last season, Chris, if they can handle their business against some of these teams out here, I think they might have a pretty good season out here. They kick off the season, Chris, with Auburn, August 29th.
Yeah, that is a game that I will definitely be locked in and tuned in for. Because quiet as kept, since we're talking about it, Baylor and Auburn, two top 20 teams in the nation in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we got to see it from Auburn. I know we have to see it.
Yeah.
But I trust in the recruiting that is going on in Auburn. I trust in the staff. I have seen, what Hugh Freeze is capable of, and I think Jackson Arnold is in good hands in Auburn. I think two top 20 teams. So that will be a doozy when those two teams lock up and play each other.
Yeah. And I would go off by saying, Chris, that this is a tone-setting game for both teams. So, hey, let's say if a Baylor can win this game and Sawyer Robinson, has a big day in that game, my gosh, we're going to be talking about Baylor being one of those dark horse teams. Of course, they still got to play the games. That's why we play. But hey, how great would that be if Sawyer Robinson's squad can kick off the season with a W?
Huge. That would be huge for sure. So I love what's going on in Baylor. Definitely a huge dark horse, and someone I would definitely not be surprised if they made the playoff. Another team on that same tier in my eyes, Kory.
Mm-hmm.
The aforementioned Avery Johnson. Kansas State.
Yeah.
You can't. I know they lost some players. You lose a Giddens, and some playmakers on that team. But as long as you have Avery Johnson, and he's another year wiser, another year stronger, another year smarter, been in the film room, getting better, refining those reps. We know his God-given ability, his talent, the athleticism he has. Another year to hone in his craft. Avery Johnson is one of them ones. I can't count out Kansas State. You can never count out Kansas State, but especially when they have a dynamic player at quarterback.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Chris. I think he has a knack for, being a dynamic runner. And I think, that's one of the things about Avery Johnson that just gives teams fits. When this guy is going down the field, good luck trying to stop him. So if he can stay healthy and if he can get better at getting the ball downfield and also still utilizing his legs to, extend plays and extend drives, hey, I think the sky's the limit for Kansas State. I think that they can have a really good season. They kick off the season against Iowa State. Think about that.
You talk about tone setters. That's another tone setter right there.
Yeah.
we know Iowa State lost some good receivers, but Rocco Beck, he's still quarterback there.
He's still quarterback. Yeah, we can't forget about him. I won't forget about him.
Since we're on it, they were going to be in the list too. We might as well talk about Iowa State. That's
might as well.
Might as well. Like, that's another team. They surprised a lot of people last season. Of course, they have a smart staff. Mm-hmm. Jaden Higgins, that's a portal guy.
Yeah,
they got him from EKU, Eastern Kentucky. He just went second round NFL draft. So like they were hip. They have great talent evaluators at Iowa State and are going to find gems and maximize gems. So you might not know who their receivers are by name this year, but with Rocco Beck at quarterback, They will be just fine, and they are another team to be on the lookout for to definitely compete and turn things upside down in the Big 12.
Absolutely. I think a guy like Rocco Beck, that he unfortunately he ended the season the way he did by not making it to the playoffs. Of course, they still had a bowl game and everything, but yeah, he has that bitter taste in his mouth of just not getting that close and not sealing the
Job's
deal.
not finished.
Yeah. There's still work to be done at Iowa State, and hey, I think that this is a team that's going to be coming out swinging at anybody and everybody, Chris. So pretty much the other the top 4 teams that we mentioned today, I think they know that they have a really good team. They got a really good quarterback. They just got to put things together to finish at the end of the day.
They do. Yes, they do. So we'll see how everything plays out for Iowa State. And then we'll go ahead and I guess we should go ahead and do it, Kory.
Yeah, why not?
We've been looking at the portal. It's time to mention Texas Tech.
Yes.
Texas Tech. I know people, you might be like, Texas Tech. I know. It sounds crazy, but just walk with us. Just walk with us.
Walk with me. Talk to me.
Texas Tech, people, ladies and gentlemen, finished with the number 1 portal class in the nation. They brought back Micah Hudson. He's not going nowhere. 5-star wide receiver. He's coming back. He's staying at Tech. And they cleaned up in the portal. Yeah. All the whether it's offensive line, defensive line, secondary, wide receiver, they took care of business and addressed all the needs. Had 13 blue chip 4-star players come in. 13 at Texas Tech.
That's a lot. That's a lot of guys.
That's a lot of guys. And if you go on FanDuel right now, Kory, they are the odds-on favorite to win the league.
Wow.
Heck is.
Really?
Yes. That's how much they cleaned up in the portal this year. Texas Tech is the odds-on favorite to win the Big 12, according to FanDuel. They're plus 450. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
But that's how well they did in the portal this offseason. And they bring back their starting quarterback. We've been talking about all these guys that are returning at quarterback. When you look at the big dogs in college football, Kory, they lost a lot of players, lost a lot of QBs, a lot of new faces are going to be quarterbacking for your perennial powerhouses.
Yeah. But
the Big 12, so many players return. Morton is a really good quarterback at Tech. He's coming back. He has plenty of weapons at his disposal this year. So we're going to tell you guys now, be on the lookout for Texas Tech. It sounds crazy. I know Tech hasn't been – you ain't thought about Tech since the Michael Crabtree catch. I understand. I get it. But they're going to give you a reason to talk about them this year because they are loaded. They went all in. They pulled an Ole Miss.
Wow.
We'll see if they can have better execution, but they pulled an Ole Miss this portal season.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, they really did pull an Ole Miss in the transfer portal. I mean, they got so many guys ranging from Big Ten to couple SEC schools, ACC,
SEC,
yeah,
Pac-12, yeah.
I forget about Bryce Pollock. I mean, he was a guy that was like a shining star on that terrible Mississippi State team. He's a part of that that team.
Yeah.
And I really like his game. I think that that pick right there is going to pay dividends in terms of getting a guy like Pollock from the transfer portal. So, yeah, definitely get what you're saying, Chris. I think Texas Tech is going to be a dark horse in this, and I didn't get a chance to watch many Texas Tech games last year, but seeing what I'm seeing right now, definitely going to be keeping my eye out on the Red Raiders this season. I think they got something brewing down there in Lubbock.
Yeah. I mean, it's all. Look, they can mess around, and even though the portal class looks great on paper, it could be a whiff. You never know how these things play out. We have to see the product on the field, but when you look at what they acquired, hey man, hey, that should be right there in the mix.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. Oh, it's gonna be fun.
No, you're absolutely right. So yeah, they gotta put it together, Chris. Hopefully they can. Not everyone can become Lane Kiffin and talent just fall from the sky. So let's hope that Joey Maguire can bring out the best in these guys and see what they can do. Maybe they can win a Big 12 conference championship.
They very well can. They very well can. So we will be locked in and tuned in and see what can happen, and keeping it in Texas. We will be remiss, Kory, if we didn't mention TCU.
Yeah.
I mean, they just made the playoffs. Usually let's go.
Well, I mean, those couple of years ago feel like a lifetime now, Chris. just saying, but if we're being honest, I think TCU, this is an opportunity for them to be on the up and up. I'm not fully in tune to their team because I didn't watch many TCU of games this past season, but just in terms of what the little that I did see and where they were at in terms of the standings, I think they have an opportunity to try to make a name for themselves and try to knock out some of these teams out here that may be a little high on maybe our list and try to crash the party, I should say.
They are my pick as a party crasher, a team that didn't do too much last season, but you just know one with they are perennially a team that makes some noise.
Yeah,
they normally perform well. Josh Hoover, it's been a theme, Kory. Quarterbacks returning in the Big 12. He's another one of them. Josh Hoover's a good QB, man. Very underrated name. He's not known nationally, but he's somebody to keep an eye on because if TCU is playing very good football, I can guarantee you that Josh Hoover is the driving force. That he is the reason why TCU would be winning. And so they did lose a good wide receiver in the draft. So they got to fill some pieces out there on the outside, fill some voids. But it's a lot easier to fill voids when you bring back your QB. And I think Josh Hoover is a guy that can have a big season for them. So I think that's the theme for the Big 12, man. There's some really good quarterback play in this conference with all the guys that are returning and guys, even if they aren't a returning starter, they have the caliber, the capabilities to perform and play well and have the talent to put themselves in the conversation as one of the better QBs in the league. So it's going to be some points put up this year in the Big 12 as always because there's so many returning starting QBs in this league. So I think it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah, no, it's definitely stacked, Chris, and I'm just so excited to see what happens in this league. For sure, I think that there's some teams out there. Some of the teams that we talked about, they have an opportunity to make it into the playoffs, make a run, not just win a conference championship, but go off and do big things in this second in our row, the second year of the playoffs. So I think this is going to be a fun year in the Big 12 conference, and I know we're definitely going to be talking about it a lot this coming season.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Is there a bottom feeder, like a team that's on nobody's radar, Kory? But if you were to, when you look at the conference, you just look at them and you're like, I'm not saying that they will be a playoff contender, but it might sound crazy saying it, but we know how the Big 12 is. So who is your team? It might not look like it when you see them, but it's not impossible if they were to crash the party and mess around and try to find their way at the top of the conference.
Well, I think the easiest one for me, Chris, it has to be West Virginia. I mean, this is a team that they have talent. They've had talent. But, the last couple of years, of course, they just haven't been able to, put it fully together. And, right now I'm trying to, pull up, like, their recruiting and everything just to kind of get on top of where they're at. But I'm just kind of seeing what I've seen the past year or so. This is a team that's, I feel like, Chris, they are itching. They're just on their hands and knees just hoping for a better season, more productive season. And I think that this is an opportunity for them, Chris. Of course, they got to put it together. This is an opportunity for them to be more productive. It's been a while since we've seen West Virginia be a pretty much dark horse level team that has an opportunity to go to a New Year's Six / playoff. It's been a while since we've seen those West Virginia teams. I hope that this is a year that we get a chance to see that, because we haven't really seen that in quite a while. So I hope that they've figured out some things over there. Rich Rodriguez, head coach over there. I mean, Rich Rodriguez, he always finds a way to get on a team. So, and when I think about Rich Rodriguez, didn't he used to be in West Virginia?
Indeed.
Yeah,
that's where it all started.
So it's so funny, and bringing things full circle, that maybe this is a new lease on life for Coach Rod. Maybe he can get this team to be competitive like he used to back in those mid to late 2000s. So if so, hey, shout out to him. This is an opportunity for West Virginia to be competitive. We're gonna see what happens, but I would pick them as a team that is not quite there, but the clock is ticking.
No, I'm right there with you. I understand. West Virginia, they're never going to just wow you with the recruiting, but if Rich Rod can get his system to be clicking and rolling and get the right guys at the right positions in there, all it takes is just a couple of dynamic players in Rich Rod's system. We saw it with Pat White, Steve Slayton. Nothing was the same. If you can get a couple of guys in there that can make some plays with the ball, with the old rock, with the pigskin, they can. West Virginia can make something shake. So I like that one.
Yeah.
For me, Kory, looking at Kansas, Jalen Daniels returning, another quarterback, and we know how hyped up Kansas was last year. Daniels is returning this year.
Yes, he is.
I think he's even hungrier and even more motivated. Everybody was patting Kansas back last season going into the year. And we saw how things played out. didn't live up to their standards, to what they were expecting. I don't think that's just a one. I think they aren't happy with just how 2023 went. I think this is the team that wants to bounce back in 2025, and with him under center, I think they have a great chance of making it happen. And so, it's not going to be a lot that meets the eye when you look at their roster on paper. But we know what their staff is capable of. There's a really good coaching staff in place at Kansas. And we know when Daniels is healthy, what he brings to the table. And I'm looking at Kansas like, hey, people are asleep on you. And when we talk about you can go from worst to first in the Big 12. Tough season last year, but you're coming back under center and you're a very talented QB, and anything can happen. So Kansas, why not you?
Why not you? Why not you? Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chris. We're gonna see what happens with the Jayhawks. Hey, I definitely saw the fight in them towards the end of the season. Look, they're the reason why Colorado, they were close and making it to a Big 12 championship. Devin Neal and company got them out of there. Who will forget that game? So, and we all know about the week prior against BYU. So, hey, this is
when they were healthy.
Yeah,
they were tough.
They were tough. They were dangerous. People said it. People admitted it before the end of the season that this was a dangerous football team because they still had talent. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you, Chris. They have an opportunity to make it back, to be relevant in this league. So I won't shy away from looking at Kansas as a threat in this league, because they definitely can ruin someone's season, of course, and potentially make their own season if they can bring everything together.
Yeah, they definitely can. So I know people, it sounds like we've talked about half the conference, but look, it's the Big 12. It's just
a lot of teams,
this almost everybody is potentially a player to win the conference. We're just going to be straight up with you.
Yeah. We ain't even talk about Utah. Look, Kenny Dillingham.
Or BYU.
Yeah, or BYU. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I've learned with those two teams, BYU and Utah, I've learned to not count them out at all anymore. Kenny Dillingham,
Utah, like you said.
Yeah, I just can't count the man out. The man is like the modern day Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. Like we put Utah last in the conference. Nah, don't do that, bro.
Nope. And it don't matter who's at quarterback, as long as you can say height.
Yeah,
throw the football about 25 yards. They'll figure it out.
They will figure it out. As long as they have a really good defense, which usually they do, outside of a few years. A
strong O-line.
Good luck.
They'll run the football. That's what they do. That's what they do. So, yeah. No, you're right. We would be remiss if we didn't mention Utah and BYU as well.
Absolutely.
As players, because they are players in the league, man. Oh my goodness, what a deep conference.
Yeah,
what a deep conference.
Yeah. It's definitely a deep conference. I mean, I know we didn't mention Houston, of course. I think Houston has a long way to go in order to be competitive.
But they do have Connor Wegman. We can talk about Houston just for a quick second. They do have Connor Wegman.
Not bad.
I'm not saying that they're going to win the conference or predicting them to be a player, but hey,
that's a start.
That is a start. Connor Wegman's a solid QB, and we'll see if they can build on that.
Yeah.
So, hey. Shout out to Houston.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, you got to start out somewhere, and if you can get a guy like Connor Wegman, which isn't a bad quarterback, maybe this is a new lease on life for Wegman by being at Houston. Hey, you got to get in where you fit in, and if he can fit in at Houston and make a name for himself, Chris, I'm all for it. So let's see what the Cougars do this season with Willie Fritz. This is his second year as the head coach down there in Houston.
Yeah. No. You're exactly right. I mean, it could be a Kyle McCord like situation.
Yeah.
Kyle McCord struggled terribly at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Had us questioning, why is this guy on the field? He doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And little did we know, he took his butt to Syracuse and was setting records. Had led the NCAA in passing yards. It was a whole 180 from what he looked like at Ohio State, Kory.
Exactly.
Maybe this can be a Kyle McCord situation for Wegman, and he lights the Big 12 on fire.
Yeah. And if so, I would definitely give him all the praise if he can do that. That would be amazing. Amazing turnaround, and just a great story by a guy like Connor Wegman. He worked his butt off over at A&M. If he could do something like that at Houston, that'd be big.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm right there with you. So I think we've crossed the T's and dotted our I's in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think so. I think we did. I did. You know what? One other team, Chris, before we get ready to get out of here, Oklahoma State.
Okay, State.
I think that's the bottom of the bottom.
You're right. Yeah, it should be a down year for Oklahoma State, but Coach Gundy has a lot of pride over there.
Yeah. Maybe too much, if you ask the average Cowboys fan.
Oh man!
So maybe a little bit.
You're right though. They'll mess around, and they're supposed to be bad, and you never know what'll happen.
Hey,
we do got to throw their name in the hat.
Yeah, we got to throw his name in the hat. I was just kind of torn. I was kind of hurt after last season. We wanted a guy like Ollie Gordon to win. Wanted to see him have success, and it just couldn't. They couldn't materialize wins last season. So, or at least not enough. So, it was unfortunate, but hey, that's why we play the games. New season. Let's see what happens over there in Stillwater.
Sir.
Well, Chris, this was great. I am so happy that we're doing these previews at a really great time of the year, of course, because before you know it, these guys will be back. It'll be fall camp and everything, and then next thing you know, we'll be kicking off a new season in 2025. So.
Yeah, we'll be kicking off a new season, and we'll be making an actual prediction. Mm-hmm. We will give you guys who we, because this is still portal action going on, and we're getting settled, and we'll see how these fall camps go. We'll be making actual conference predictions.
Yes.
Soon, eventually. But in the meantime, we're going to continue. Like you said, we're going to do these previews and just throw all the players, just throw all the teams that can be in the mix to keep your eyes on, and keep you guys informed this off season as we get ready.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Chris. That's what makes this so great, that we can delve into this right now. And things are changing. Of course, we got things moving, of course, in the portal and all of that. But yeah, it's always great that we can still talk about this as we're inching closer and closer to a new season of college football.
Day by day, brother. Day by day.
Yes, sir.
Right, look, it's May.
It's May. Just like that. May came quick in the year of our Lord 2025.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Before you know it, blink twice and it's May. So,
Yep.
hey, September will be here before we know it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So yeah, man, we gotta fit all of this in now for y'all before we're all out tailgating and hollering from the stands or our TVs. But yeah, Chris, no, I appreciate you again, brother. Doing these Bolton's bets previews. What's the next one? Where we're going to next?
I have one for you right now.
Okay.
If you want me to go ahead and share with the people.
Yeah, go ahead. Let the people know.
I'm gonna go ahead and let the people know because I just placed this myself. But we talked about Texas Tech and the work they did in the portal.
Right.
LSU did a lot of work in the portal too.
Yep. Yes, they did.
Like not just the first wave of the portal, they still are doing work as we speak. LSU is all in on this season. All in. And man, it pains me to say this as a Georgia football fan and a Mississippi State alumnus. But Kory, I think we'll be hard pressed to find 8 better teams than LSU.
Wow.
When you look at their roster, this is a team that's deep. Deep.
Yeah.
The talent that they have at wide receiver, they found their guy at running back last year, true freshman Durham.
Really good.
Nuss is back. Perkins is back. That D-line would be nasty. Hey, man. I can't express to you guys just how much of a dynamic playmaker Hilton and Barryon Brown are.
Yeah.
And don't let Nick Anderson be healthy. Like, I'm so serious, Kory. Like, this team's going to be filthy. They really are going. LSU is going to be filthy next year. I'm just going to be honest. And the number that they have for their wins right now is the over/under is at 8.5. The schedule is a little difficult, and I think that's the only holdup that some people may have. The schedule is a little difficult, and we can go through it real quick. I'm so glad you asked me about this. We can go through it real quick.
Yeah, let's look at it.
You see, so they start the season off, big time game, on the road at Clemson. Now, if they beat Clemson, who is also looked at as a top 10 team in the nation, if we were to look at everybody's rosters and to rank teams right now, Clemson's a top 10 team based off their returning talent. If the LSU goes to quote unquote Death Valley and win at Clemson and start the season off finally with the season opener win.
Right.
Oh, this team they are off and rocking. It's on and popping, baby. You beat Clemson, you play Louisiana Tech, you get a very pesky, very tough, another, in my eyes, top 20 roster in the nation, Florida. You get them at home. Tough game right there.
That should be a fun game.
It should be a fun game. Very fun.
We about
Gus
to find
versus DJ?
Oh, yeah. We're going to find out who got that dog in them come September 13th.
That's a game.
Yeah.
That's a game right there.
Yeah.
Then you go to Ole Miss, which won't be easy. You know, Ole Miss did lose Dart and some guys, but Austin Simmons will be ready to play some football. I think Ole Miss will still be a very good team. Not an easy one, so possible L there. Possible L. You get South Carolina at home. Another difficult game. Lenore Sellers. Those are 2 really tough games. But if you can win at home, let's just say you beat Clemson but you lose to Ole Miss. Well, we'll have you lose one of those difficult road games.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, you're 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 if you take care of business at home against Florida. 4-0, 4-1. You beat South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough game, but you get them at home, so we'll give you the win. 5-1. You go to Vandy. I think you win that game too. That's going to be a tough one.
You think? Hey, talk to Alabama.
Exactly. It's going to be a tough one, but I think this LSU team is built to win that game.
Okay.
6-1. A&M will be tough as well, but it's at home.
It's at home.
So we'll give you that one, 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
At Alabama. I will give you an L there. I'll give you an L because it's on the road at Alabama.
Okay.
I think LSU wins it. I think LSU wins it. But I'm just being, trying to be neutral here and playing out all the scenarios. I will give an L there. Play Arkansas. So you're 8-2. Western Kentucky, 9-2. You hit the over right there. You're above 8.5, so you hit the over. And whether you win or lose against Oklahoma doesn't matter. But I think they will win that game as well. So I see them at least going 10-2 next year.
Okay.
I think they hit the over 8.5. So that's my boldest bet, y'all. If you want to get your future in, look at LSU's roster and look at all these teams across the board. Look at the new quarterbacks stepping into position at different schools. Alabama will have a new QB.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss will have a new quarterback. And those are the road games.
Yeah.
So you're at least set up to where the most difficult, quote unquote, most difficult games on the road, you will be going against new quarterbacks in those games. Mm-hmm. Of course, you have to go against Cade Klubnik and Clemson. That's going to be tough. But if you win that Clemson game, you have every right to feel like this team's a national championship contender in Baton Rouge.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, I'm looking at the schedule, Chris. Very favorable with what you laid out. I think there's an inroad to a potential playoff berth. They just got to win the games that they need to win. If they can do that, mm-hmm. Sky's the limit for LSU. So, yeah, I'm definitely bullish, just like you, sir, with the Tigers. If they can manage this schedule pretty well, I think they should do just fine. So, hey, it's gonna be a long year.
So that's my preseason Bolton bet for you.
Okay.
LSU, take the over on the 8.5. You won't regret it.
Nice. I like this. So this is like the tease before our SEC preview. Is that what we?
Yes. It's a little teaser. It's a little teaser.
I like
that. We already gave you guys the Georgia Tech 7.5 over earlier this offseason. And this is we give you the LSU. Take the over on the 8.5. So there's good value with both teams right there.
Okay. Nice.
You even parlay it if you want to.
Hey, double your money, see what you can do. See what you can get out of this season. It's a new year, new lease on life. see what you can maximize.
Exactly.
Well, I like that. Oh man. Well, yeah, Chris, we'll definitely that's definitely a great way to get everyone prepared for our SEC preview, and I can't wait, sir, until we delve deep into that league. I mean, look, that's the league that we grew up on, so we know all the ins and outs, just the whole scenery and just environment around the conference that is the SEC.
That's where we got our favorite saying.
Yeah.
A Jefferson Davis pilot special.
Absolutely. I thought you were just gonna say it just means more because Commissioner Sankey would say it just means more. That's why we 16 teams strong. Oh man. But yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about the SEC on the next show, folks. So yeah, if you're tuned in, definitely listen to what Chris and I our predictions are on that episode. So can't wait for that. Well, partner, we're about to wrap up today's show. Before we do, Chris, we had to talk about this crazy story. This will give some people some laughs. Now, new head coach of North Carolina Tar Heels, Bill Belichick. No, folks, he is not the head coach of the New England Patriots, if you've been lying under a rock. Bill Belichick and this whole situation with his girlfriend in terms of how the way the program is being ran, Chris. This is something else. I think Bill Belichick had a whole interview on CBS. Apparently, everyone was talking about how now his new girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has been running things throughout the Tar Heels program, and it sparked the whole thing where the university had to come out and make a statement and all of this. Chris, what are your takes on all of this going on in terms of the program? Yeah, I was kind of looking at Bill Belichick and saying like, hey, he's going to run this like he's ran all of his of his seasons at New England. What's going on over there in North Carolina? Are the people starting to renege over this?
I don't know what's going on out there in Chapel Hill, man. It's like a lot's going on in Chapel Hill.
I know it's kind of an understatement.
Yeah, it's sound like Bill has a lot that he's dealing with on the field and off the field.
Definitely looks like
but it does look like it, man. We'll see. I trust Bill Belichick to be locked in when it's all said and done. So I'm curious to see what the product looks like on the field. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot of noise, it seems like, surrounding this team. I wasn't expecting to talk about North Carolina, in May. I was expecting us to talk about North Carolina in September, October. Not right now. So there's a lot of noise going on with the program at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is.
Especially when your old lady is making headlines.
I know. It's definitely causing quite the stir, around campus right now, and I think it's this. I think the closer we get to actually playing some college football, of course, I think that will actually help a guy like Bill Belichick in terms of knowing what he wants from his team. This is a different world for him. He's really never had to be so much in the public eye in terms of being at a university, and that's different than being in the public eye and being a part of an NFL team, being an NFL head coach. He has to be everywhere. He has to be vocal in terms of being the leader of a program, of a college program, and not just any program. He's the head coach of North Carolina, the Tar Heels. So that definitely comes with a level of responsibility that he may be not as privy to as him being just the head coach of the New England Patriots, and Tom Brady is his quarterback, and you really only see him during the NFL season and probably like training camp. So that's pretty much it. So this is a whole new world for him. I'm still interested in seeing how he fits in the world of college football. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in his first year.
Well, it's definitely going to be. It's going to be a movie. It's playing out in real time right now, Kory.
The stars are aligning. Oh man, just like him and the missus wants it. Oh man.
Oh man.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Bill Belichick does this coming season, Chris. And yeah, me and you are definitely going to be discussing it on the show.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, Chris, I'm not going to hold you any longer, sir. It's always great to talk college football with you and all the things surrounding college football. Outros before I get you out of here. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. Y'all can find me on Twitter at X. I still want to call it Twitter.
We call it Twitter.
I guess Twitter X. We're going to call it at Chris_Bolton_12. Holla at your boy. And also on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Tap in with me. It's a great time. We talking about everything: wrestling, boxing, UFC, playoff basketball, baseball, MLB. Check out our work we're doing with MLB Bro. Great people there. We're doing our thing, and also talking college football too. So let's just holler at your boy.
Nice. Yeah, definitely follow Chris on all of your favorite social media applications, and yeah, the work he's also doing on MLBBro.com. Doing great work, sir.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Yes, sir. And folks, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college sports, of course. I think we're getting closer to College World Series or the College World Series playoffs, and yeah, so definitely going to be tuning into that to see what happens. Mississippi State finally made a decision that was a little bit too late, Chris, in terms of Lamonis, but it is what it is.
better late than never.
Look, we don't like when guys have to have their jobs lost.
Tough.
Of course, it's tough.
Yeah, man,
it's tough, but
it is tough.
This is the results business at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, he got some leeway by getting the championship.
Yeah.
But, it seemed like he was able to win with the other regimes, the other coaches, players, and things just haven't worked out with his own.
Right.
So it's just kind of how the cookie crumbles.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely been following along with that. Of course, college football, professional wrestling. We're getting closer to WWE Backlash and AEW's doing some pretty decent work right now. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. I'll definitely tap in with y'all, of course. So,
sure.
So yes, sir. Well, folks, as always, we appreciate you guys listening in to the show. If you like what you hear from Chris and I, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It's definitely important for us. It helps us know what we're doing and how we can improve this show for the future for you all. So as always, guys, we very much appreciate you all listening to the show. But until next time, I'm Kory Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later on. Peace.
Peace.